give you guys like a live update on the Argentina snowboard trip. So here with Shane from Search of Snowboarding.
Howdy, howdy.
Shane's come out for, how long you been out here for, man?
Like just about 2 weeks.
Almost about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, check out his channel, Search of Snowboarding. He's got a ton of YouTube content out there as well. But we just spent the last, couple weeks snowboarding here in Argentina across. We started in Bariloche, riding at Cerro Catedral. Then we went down to La Hoya. So we've been on like a 2-week adventure and just wanted to come on, talk to you guys, and kind of give you an update on how everything went. And yeah, it's been a sick trip. Shane, man, what kind of sparked your interest, or like what was the first idea to come down here?
I was like looking at the winter ahead, and like right when North American winter ended, I was like, oh, what's going to be like the next chance I can go snowboard? And I started thinking about South America, and the idea started to like snowball a little bit, and I like started to plan it with some friends, and I knew how hit or miss the season could be down here.
Mm-hmm.
And so right when I had the idea, I was like, it's going to be a last minute decision. Like if the snow's good, I'm going to go. And it didn't work out with my friends. And then right when I was looking at it more, I saw you were here, and I was like, oh, no way. Like that would be sick to link up.
Yeah.
And yeah, especially like coming down solo and you being down solo, and made the move, and I'm stoked I did it. Worked out really well.
It did. What were you thinking with Argentina? Is it just like from what you've heard in the past, or did you have like some expectations coming in?
I don't know. It was like somewhat of a random thought in my head, because I was looking at Chile too, and looking at the resorts for each, and kind of tossing those back and forth. And then I tried to keep my expectations really low. Yeah. Because I know like wherever you go, you can always get bad weather, or the snow might not be great. So I didn't come into it thinking, oh, we're gonna get sick powder. Like I just thought it would be great if we got to ride some amazing lines, which we did, and I'm like completely satisfied with the whole trip.
Awesome. Yeah, it's kind of coming down here. It's just kind of like you can do some research, you can try to like learn as much as possible and talk to people, but I think we've talked about this a bunch. Like you don't really know until you like just get there, you go down.
Yeah, and I don't know how it was for you, but I couldn't find like that much information.
Yeah.
Or at least the information that I wanted to have. And I was like, oh, like I think if you're going to more well-known places like in Europe or Japan, like there's a lot of information to almost plan your whole trip off, right? But down here you kind of gotta wing it. And that was another thing. Like right before I came, I was looking at videos for shredding in Argentina and the resorts I was looking at, and no videos popped up. Like you had just posted your first video down here, and I was like, oh wow, that's like all there is out there right now.
Yeah. No, it's like you just kind of wing it and like hope for the best, and I think it like worked out perfect. What
made you that's actually something I never asked you.
Yeah, I mean, for me coming down here, it was like similar. Like I went to Chile 5 years ago, and that was like I had seen just like a few like small video clips, and had heard like stories and people talk about how it's amazing and great. But yeah, I did that short Chile trip like 5 years ago, and then people are starting to say like, oh, you gotta check out Argentina next time. And like everyone's got like opinions of like better or worse, and people were saying like, oh, Argentina's the bigger mountains, better snow, but then you hear like the opposite too, like everyone people talk about Chile. So yeah, I was like, it's got to be done. Like come down, check it out, experience it, and I think it like lived up to the hype big time.
Yeah. I don't know if I had much basis to like build my hype. It just felt like really blind, and like new continent, new country, just like we'll see when we get there what it's like.
Amazing. Awesome, man. Let's check in on the chat, see if anybody if you guys have any questions about Argentina, anything at all, definitely hit us up. Um, Nathan is saying, have we found ourselves sleeping in sketchy places? Found it that my first trip to Austria. No, that's been pretty chill. Like, I mean, with Airbnbs, like, I mean, the first place that you found was like super, yeah, it was like just like a small kind of cozy spot.
Yeah, real chill, and
Yeah,
I think the places are kind of minimal, and like just the room. At least the first two places we stayed at,
yeah,
just the rooms and a little kitchen, and yeah, really all you need. But it's been really chill.
yeah. I think, yeah, places have been great. I think as long as you have like the basics at the place, just the basics covered, then everything goes well. Um, yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like you just need a place to kind of like sleep and make some food and then get back to the riding.
Yeah, I think I had this idea because so we're in our third place now. Or
Yeah.
for my stay, this is like the third place, and this place is much bigger than all the other spots. And I had this impression that like all the homes were like a little smaller, more minimal, and
Yeah.
but yeah, we're in an awesome little
No.
Airbnb here
Yeah,
in Bariloche tonight.
It's throwing off the theme. Um, yeah, no, it's cool. And I guess,
Really reasonably priced too. Like
yeah, yeah,
probably like one of the cheapest things that you need to pay for is like your housing.
for
coming
sure.
here.
Yeah, that's kind of another reason I did Argentina this year compared to, because I mean, it's pretty popular to go to, like, say, New Zealand or Australia, and those places are amazing, but they can be a bit pricey. So, like, accommodation wise, resort wise, like coming down here, I feel like it's like half the price. So, and like along with, I think the mountains down here are much bigger, and like kind of the terrain is a lot more fun here than New Zealand or Australia, but it depends on the kind of trip you want to do too.
Yeah, like Cardrona or Perisher, like probably more likely a park trip. But
Yeah.
like coming here,
Yeah.
much more of a free ride trip and like side country and backcountry.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, like in terms of like costs and places, yeah, no sketchiness, just all good.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Hamed in the chat. What's up, man? We got all right. Oh, it says Gloria says the trick with Australia is to sleep in the car at a campsite. Yeah, I mean that's one way to do it. One way to do it for sure. Yeah, and then so I mean at the beginning of the trip, before you came too, like when you dropped me that message, that was super cool because yeah, if you guys are just tuning in, so we got Shane, Search of Snowboarding, also does like a ton of YouTube content for snowboarding. And so when I saw like he reached out, I was like, okay, this will be a fun like collab. And from your videos too, it's like you just seem like a positive, outgoing, passionate guy about snowboarding. So yeah,
I thought the same thing. So this is like actually our first time like meeting in person, and yeah, like I'm sure you guys know, like tuning in for the live chats and stuff, like Kevin is exactly how he comes off in videos, like real chill. And
awesome, cool. Maybe a little bit more sleepy in person.
I don't know about that.
Okay. But yeah, no, it was awesome because it's like, especially like it was great being down here, and like I had some local Argentinian dudes to ride with, but it's amazing having somebody to go explore with and film. And I feel like the type of riding we do too is like very similar. We were like after the same kind of lines. So
yeah, I think we each had the same idea of like what we wanted this trip to be, even though you were, a month into your trip already, and it just linked up really well. And
it did, yeah.
I don't know. It felt too easy.
I think you came the perfect time. Like just as I got the mountain figured out, you arrived. So I mean, I'm glad I did, because it just kind of took away any kind of experimental like time of like, oh, let's try this, and then it not being very good. Or
I'm wondering, did like me coming in, so I came like a month into your trip pretty much, like halfway in your 2-month trip, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if me coming with that like fresh, excited, like, oh, new place, like you had a month before, if that like re-sparked your stoke? Or
Honestly, I was like, I wasn't, my stoke was like still there the whole time.
yeah, sick.
Yeah. Like it was more,
I'm asking because like if it was me, I think after a month I could be like, oh, okay.
yeah, no, it was because I was kind of like building up to that too. So there, I did have a few days of like, oh, this is what I want to be doing. Like I'm at the spot. But maybe it wasn't, so I was still high, but there was maybe a little bit of like anxiety around continuing to do it. So when you came, it was more of like just like a relief of like, okay, now I've got like somebody to reset and kind of, and it just felt easier when you were out here too. Like, yeah, having a second person just makes everything.
Yeah, especially driving and figuring out plans and stuff.
Yeah. So
like for me, just like, you know, you finish your day and like figuring out that next day's plan, like,
yeah,
can be such a chore. And like,
yeah.
I don't want to think about what we're doing tomorrow, but you have to.
Oh yeah.
To make a good day.
No, but yeah, it was great because, and then also, I think you coming out. So actually, before I get to that, so yeah, we spent, a few days. 3 days. We rode 3 days at Cerro Catedral, and the first day just like ran the resort, and then we did 2 kind of like backcountry days exploring. I mean, for me, like that area, like, so we went into an area called Mini Alaska, which is pretty cool. But yeah, how would you describe like? I mean, actually, before we go into that, what do you think of the resort itself?
Catedral.
Yeah.
Really fun. So
cool.
Yeah, I had the first day we rode was on the resort all day, and then my last day in that zone, I spent a whole day on the resort, just like finding everything. And
yeah,
it was spring conditions, but amazing views, and like I found fun side hits everywhere, and you're just kind of like the whole day, like whether you're riding the lift or cruising around, just like amazed by how big it is and the scenery, and it's so cool.
The views are pretty spectacular.
Yeah,
with the lake, and especially when going up to that top chair, and then you get the whole like view of the mountain range across the valley. Yeah.
And today actually, so we drove from down south back up here today, which was like a 4 or 5 hour drive. I stopped at one of those little lakes that you see from Catedral.
Yeah.
And it was right when the sun was setting behind Catedral, and it was like really cool being down there and like looking back up like where we were riding and all that.
Awesome, yeah.
It was a cool spot.
Was all the like kind of like spiky, rocky peaks kind of?
Yeah, you couldn't see all of them, but
yeah,
I don't know. It was like a really nice weather and nice time of the day. I'm glad I stopped.
Awesome, man. The resort, amazing views. I mean, for me too, like one of the best parts was when we like right as we were going into the backcountry, and you kind of like saw where we were going into, and you just like got so excited, like we're going out there. Like
it's so sick. You see it, and it's like not that far, and you're like, at least for me, I was like, yes, this is why I'm here. We're like going there, we're doing it.
Yeah,
that was a good moment.
That was awesome. So we spent most of our time like outside the resort in this spot called Mini Alaska, and fairly like easy to get to, but like pretty, and like some fun technical terrain, kind of short, but like short and sweet stuff. I would say
you could make it long if you wanted to.
Yeah,
it'd just be a really long hike out.
Yeah, how would you what do you think of the terrain back there, like itself?
It was pretty unique.
Yeah.
I don't think, having ridden the resort that first day, that I could have imagined the terrain just right back there being that amazing.
Yeah.
So it was like this special little treat, like, wow, it's like right there.
Yeah. That's a good point, because like the resort is like advanced riding, the resort, intermediate, advanced, but the terrain isn't like ultra light dynamic. But yeah, as soon as you go out of bounds, it turns into, it's completely different.
Yeah, terrain completely changes.
Yeah.
Huge, like, top of the peak to like bottom of the valley kind of thing with all like a lot of rocks, a lot of spires and everything going on.
Yeah.
Couloirs and chutes and everything. It was really cool being back there. Even just like getting to the point to snowboard. Like I wasn't even thinking about snowboarding because it was like so cool just being out in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say just like the hikes, walking out there. You could just go for a hike and hike out without snowboarding and still have an amazing time. But yeah, that was sick. I mean, there's one video out, but there's a lot more, and some of the drone shots and tons of really cool stuff. All right, let's check in on you guys, see what you're saying. Fernando saying great video in Argentina, guys. Refugio Lynch, the top restaurant bar up there is incredible. Oh, nice. Yeah, we haven't stopped too much on the mountain for like food and stuff, but where's your favorite tree snowboarding area? Here in Argentina, there's not very many trees. I guess worldwide, that's a tough one. But we did ride some like fun trees at La Hoya, like just a quick little fun like tree like shoot through the trees. There's not a ton up here though.
Yeah, it's mostly like all above tree line. It looks like if you were in the middle of winter here, there'd be more tree riding maybe, but I think because it's at the end of the season, most of the snow is just up high and above all the trees.
Do you have a favorite tree area in Aspen?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to let the secret out, or?
I've got a lot, but on Aspen Mountain, there's this area called the Dumps.
Okay.
It's where there's a lot of mining, so it was all like where they would dig into the mountain and dump all the stuff out. So it's like these steeper runs with some aspen glades. It's tight and steep, and I love it in there.
Oh, cool.
I'll have to show you.
Yep. Have to make it out to Aspen. What else are people saying? Shout out Shane for teaching me about board profiles.
Oh, nice.
That's
from important stuff.
Yep.
Especially when you're buying a board.
That's from Josh. How does Argentina compare with Japan? Cost, snow, ease of travel, etc. Oh, really good question. Are there any similarities between here and Japan?
I think more differences.
There's more. There's more.
I mean, I think it's easier getting around because we're looking at like, Latin alphabet on the road signs and stuff. And so Japanese, at least for me. And
language is a little easier here, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest reason why they're different is because when I was in Japan for the first time this year, I was there midwinter, and here, I'm kind of at the end of their season, so you can kind of imagine how different just that would make it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to compare. Yeah, we're kind of catching the tail end, like spring riding, but I feel like you can't really compare it anywhere to Japan in terms of the snow.
Yeah,
like the snow in Japan is so unique, tons of it, super light.
For me, that's like midwinter deep powder trip.
Yeah.
And here, this was like spring backcountry touring trip.
Yeah.
Although it's definitely steeper here, much bigger mountains.
Yeah.
Japan in Hokkaido can be a little flatter, which is fun, but that's big difference in the terrain like that. Yeah,
the terrain is pretty much opposite. Yeah, Japan is more mellow, tons of trees. Here's more steep, alpine. Nothing really similar actually. Pretty completely opposite.
What do you think about cost though?
Oh, cost-wise, maybe cost. I feel like Argentina is probably a little bit cheaper.
I think it's probably different things. Like I think in Japan there's a lot. There's a higher number of smaller resorts where you could get cheaper lift tickets, maybe.
Yeah.
And I found you could get there's a lot more food options for a lot cheaper in Japan. I found, and like accommodations are probably similar, and
yeah, price wise, yeah, I think if you're to spend the money, they'd be similar, but yeah, like Japan might be cheaper for like what you're saying, lift
I
tickets.
think you might get more bang for your buck in Japan.
Yeah.
Might be a good way to think about it.
But both I would say are on the like the more cost effective side. Yeah, once you get there, depending on where you're flying from. And Glorious is asking, how does it compare to Chile? Yeah, I mean, I haven't, really explored both a ton, but Argentina does feel like the mountains are a bit bigger and the terrain is a little bit more like diverse in terms of like difficulty and like kind of features. All right, what are other people saying here? Oh, it seems like you had much better POW in Chile with the trip with TJ. Yeah, I mean, the Chile trip I did 5 years ago, it was like, I think I went a little, or no, I guess it was the same time, but yeah, there was a lot of snow then. I think it hasn't been like the best snow year, but it's kind of been nice too, not having a ton of snow because it's felt a bit safer, like exploring around.
Totally.
And yeah, POW's fun though.
Yeah, I think it depends what you want. Like when we were just in La Jolla, and apparently they had a really bad snow year.
Yeah.
Which made all the bigger lines we wanted to ride way safer.
Yeah.
Like the thing we had to look out for there was not like avalanche risk so much, but like shallow snow.
Yeah.
Where there was a bunch of rocks, so that made it feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, this was like good in a different way, being able to like access stuff.
Yeah.
Feeling like more like Avi safe, but with different dangers. Yeah, with the exposure.
I think I'd take that over like deep snow, big avalanche.
Yeah.
Potential.
Yeah, I guess it kind of allowed us to get like out of the resort too. Yeah, it's a trade-off with like snow, like deep POW is like I mean, it's great for like resort riding because then the resort kind of like mitigates things for you and keeps it safer. But yeah, we just had to like work a little harder, and I think it paid off. So the first half of the trip with Shane and I, we were here in Bariloche, riding Catedral, and then we drove 4 hours south to Esquel, and rode at La Jolla, and I think like both of us was the same thing. We like didn't like going in completely fresh and blind.
It was kind of like somewhat of a gamble because we were getting it so good.
Yeah.
Here in Bariloche.
Yeah.
And again, we couldn't find that much information on that resort down south, and we just had to go for it. And I think it definitely paid off.
It did, yeah. It was like a totally different vibe down there too. Like Bariloche is like kind of a busier, like small city hub, and going down to Esquel, it was just like so chill, and like we had that spot like on like out in a rural area, and
like it couldn't have been more chill.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We were like waking up, taking our time. Get on the lift to be like really slow. We're just taking it all in.
So La Jolla, definitely a much more chill resort, and but yeah, when we were up there, I felt like we were both, I think, kind of thinking like, oh, this place is kind of small, and the coverage, I think people were telling us like coverage wise, this was like one of the like more shallow snowfall years. Maybe it was busier earlier in the season, I don't know, but it definitely looked very like barren.
Yeah, and before we got that information from some locals, it's like such a windy place. We just thought it was always like that because everything just looks windswept. Like there's, at least when we were there wasn't many like groomed runs. Yeah, there'd be like 2 runs, and in between it was just like windswept rocks, and which was kind of wild to see. But they have just had a really bad snow year.
Yeah. So the resort was kind of barren. But then we did that like just short hike up into the ridge, which then like we got the view of all the surrounding kind of like side country access. And then we're like, okay, like we're gonna be busy here. So yeah, first day kind of exploring, and then the second day, yeah, I think once we got out to some of those peaks, I had some of the best lines of like the whole trip. Like,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Yeah, really, really fun. It was like a little surprise, which was probably better. Kind of low expectations and
like really big mountain lines.
Yeah.
Like huge stuff.
But like not too much of a hassle, like getting in or getting out, because we'd hike a little bit and then just ride right back down to the lift and do it again. And
yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah. So yeah, La Jolla, we caught some like massive, incredible lines, like in a mix of like kind of tight terrain, some chutes, some like big open gullies, some tight stuff. And yeah, it was fun riding that real like unique, diverse terrain, like all in one big line, like one after the next.
Yeah. And it was like, I thought like great snow for that kind of stuff. It was either a little chalkier and grippy or more like spring corn, which we didn't really see here in Catedral.
No. Yeah, no, it's nice when you have just like those like smooth like snow turns and yeah,
spread it out.
Super, super fun. Yeah, let's see what else people are saying here. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about Argentina or about Shaden's channel as well, if you guys haven't seen his channel, Search of Snowboarding, have to follow that one. Diego, did you guys get any good POW there or just spring conditions and backcountry? Yeah, it was more spring conditions, but we did find some like still some like good pockets of like snow like in the backcountry. I feel like maybe the second day in at Catedral, like in mini Alaska, we were getting like some powderish stuff.
Yeah, especially our first run that day. I guess it had snowed like 7 centimeters 2 days before we went out there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And which made it perfect. Like didn't rise the avalanche risk, and it made for great snow. And that'll probably be your next video you put out, right? Yeah,
that's the next one. Yeah, some really cool. Yeah, there's a drone shot of you kind of dropping into that first lap. It looks, it's like amazing.
Yeah, that was my first turn in that lap. Was my best turn of the trip. I think best snow and best feeling.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
I totally forgot about that steep, gnarly, like gully you dropped into that morning.
Yeah.
It like just came back in my head.
Oh yeah, me too. I forgot about that.
Like looked up and I was like, damn.
Yeah, actually, I was just gonna mention that too. It's like being out here. I've definitely ridden terrain that I've never been ridden before in my life. Like different stuff and like stuff that's maybe hard in other ways, but that type of terrain is like that's like the first time riding a lot of that kind of stuff, which was
sick.
So fun.
Sick.
Yeah. And it's like fairly easy to get to too, right? Like
I thought it was like for how sick the terrain was, it was way too easy.
Yeah. yeah.
The balance was off. And which was the same thing for La Jolla, for how sick the lines were. The easiness factor was very low.
Yeah. Speaking of like that stuff too, guys, if you guys want to get into this stuff, like a good place to start is with a Avi course. Just like they run them like all season, every month in most like major like ski resorts. So yeah, if you're ever thinking of doing some backcountry adventures, like starting with an Avi course is awesome.
From my experience, those courses fill up quick.
Okay, yeah.
So if that's something you're into, like start looking now to book for the winter.
Book it now. And it's kind of like, you could even do it as like a trip too. Like if your local resort doesn't have one, or if like something's filled up, like I would, do a trip to do like an Avi course, because they like take you to the spots as well. I don't know if did they do that with you? Like I did mine in Whistler, and we kind of went in the Whistler backcountry, and
We went in a mellow backcountry area, which is nice because you have like the way my class was. We had like a classroom day and then a field day or day in the field.
Yeah.
And it was a zone that's like always safe, and the instructors were really familiar with, and that was cool getting out there.
Awesome.
And doing it in Colorado, a good option, which is what I did it through, was CMC, which is the community college, and they have spots all, Aspen and Summit County and Leadville.
Okay.
And I think that's maybe a cheaper option of a course.
Oh, right on.
But maybe smaller group numbers.
Okay. Oh, sweet. What's that one called again?
So it's through CMC.
CMC.
Colorado Mountain College.
Cool. All right, check that out, guys. John says, you two fellas inspired me to learn to board after finding your videos last year. Awesome. Really fed off y'all's passion. That's amazing, John. Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, happy to hear that. What is the best resort in Argentina? Casey claims Las Lenas is epic. Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I might be going there like in the next couple of days, so I'll let you guys know. But yeah, I think like a few locals have been telling us, like Jeff from La Hoya was saying that Las Lenas is pretty insane.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you want in a resort.
For sure, yeah.
From the two that we've ridden so far.
Yeah, Lost Pond says, love the channel. Thanks for all the great content. Yeah, thanks for watching. What caused your massive fall on the mountain a couple of days ago? That from Zachary. Oh man.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, what caused it? So that was yesterday, right? Yeah. That was yesterday. Man, a lot has happened in the last couple of days. I think so we went out we were exploring like a different kind of backcountry area at La Jolla, and the first run we kind of like felt like the snow was like not great, right? Like it was just like that
really grabby,
super grabby.
Some wind had blown some more dirt into the snow that night.
Yeah.
And our first run was a super mellow pitched bowl.
Yeah.
And it was like it wanted to like throw you over your edge every turn, and it was like really, really grabby. Yeah.
So after that first, we did like a mellow warm up, kind of feel it out run, and in my mind I was like, oh, let's head to something kind of steeper, more protected, and I'm sure the snow's going to be different. But we got to the top of this pretty steep line with like lots of rocks, but we kind of had scoped out with like using the drone a fairly like not easy run out, but something that was rideable and like free of rocks or free of cliffs. And right before I dropped in, I think I said to you like, oh, this is like sketchier.
You're like, oh, this is gnarly. Or, you said this looks scary. And it was like there was like a roll into it, but then also where we were standing, there was like a double fall line knuckle kind of roll.
Yeah. So it was like the visibility was kind of poor too, like kind of a little bit of flat light. And I think what happened was I went to kind of do like a jump turn from my heels to toes, and usually you can slide that around like fairly easy, and it just kind of like moves. And I think what happened is I got like halfway and it was just grabbing like the tail of my board. So it kind of put me like with my board pointed down the hill. Mm-hmm. And I got like a tiny bit of momentum going like down where I didn't want to go. And tried to get to the ground, to the snow to like stop myself, but it was too late. So then, I went over that first little drop. And then again, I was thinking, okay, I'll stop myself here. But then it was just like I was kind of skidding on my heel edge. And so I was skidding on my heels, and I went over that bigger, kind of more medium drop. And then at that point, I was like kind of like very worried about going any further. Mm-hmm. And then watching the video back, I'm kind of stoked. I kind of just managed to get around to my toes. I did like a full like circle. Like my board was up above me at one point, but then on my toes, and then like maneuvered around to get my toe edge below, and then used all my just focus to get my toe edge in and stop. Um, but yeah, Shane, I think you had like the more scary
Yeah.
viewpoint.
Well, so by the way, the drone clip that Kevin posted yesterday, it's probably might still be on your story, made it look so much more chill than it actually was. I had like the gnarliest point of view. I was like standing at the top of the line, and pretty much what you were saying it, like I kind of saw the whole thing. So it looked like you went to jump turn, and that grabby snow just held onto your board, and it pointed it like directly downhill. And we were at that point standing maybe like 15 feet from like that first little cliff.
Yeah.
And you were like, I could like tell you were like, yeah, not freaking out and like, you know, problem solving as it was all happening. But like your board pointed downhill and you tried to like not let your board go. So you like kind of tried to put your butt in the snow. And I thought you were going to save it. Like that was like the first, oh, he's all good. He's going to save it.
Yeah.
And then you flipped around to your stomach with your board pointing down. And then I just saw like you disappear over a cliff, which was so scary to see. Like I had no idea how big that was, or like in my point of view, like that could have been like a 30-foot cliff. I think you like your feet were on the ground before you were like right after you had left.
Yeah.
And then you popped up again in my field of view, and then you almost saved it again, like almost dug your toe side edge in.
Yeah.
And I was just like, watch it. It was crazy. And then you disappeared again over the next one, and that one looked even bigger than the first one. And I was like, and then you popped out again, and then you like came to a stop, and like it was all good. But yeah, my point of view, which I didn't have a camera on it was like probably the one time this whole trip that I didn't have a camera on my head recording.
Yeah.
My point of view was wild.
Yeah. And I mean, when I came to that stop too, I was just super relieved, and I just like, yeah, I wanted to let you know that I was okay. But yeah, it took me like a couple minutes just like get my stuff back together and just shimmy over to like a safe area and get down.
And then when I came down, it wasn't chill. You know, the snow was still really grabby. It was not a fun run by any means because of the snow.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, a little freaked out. We had radios, so like we were talking. I knew he was all good at that point. But yeah, it was like really weird, crappy snow, and
yeah,
it was sketchy. Me just like trying to make my way down, not even like ride it well, but just like trying to come down felt sketchy.
Yeah, yeah. I think like, I mean, I guess the lesson in that too is because like the day before, everything just was so easy.
Yeah.
Like all of our runs were like fun, like soft snow. The sun was out. It was a little bit warmer, like no breeze, no wind. So that day before was so chill and like and quick and fun. And then that day, yeah, it was a bit colder, a bit windier, cloudy, and probably should have like in hindsight, we should have just done something like on that ridge, like if we were to walk like 5 minutes over, it would have been just like an easy mellow run.
Yeah.
To like, yeah, feel like it's like, because we would have done that easier run and been like, yeah, this snow stinks. Like, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, yeah, that was my mistake of just thinking, oh, let's go down this scary thing.
Which actually, but I'm just realizing now, another good lesson from that is like, yeah, you can like, I think we all have this idea like the danger happens when you're like maybe in a run riding, but that happened before like you even really started, you know, like it can just like happen like whenever.
Yeah.
That's what made it like freaky, you know, because like we weren't even like set like, okay, he's dropping. It was just like, boom, there he goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like of all the places for it to happen, you'd think, yeah, it'd be somewhere else, not like right first little kind of hop turn. But yeah, I guess that's why, yeah, you have to be on it 100% and be making like the best plan. And like, yeah, so good lesson there.
Good question.
Tom says, North has all the snow this season. Just finished Portillo and Las Leñas. So much powder. Oh, dang. Okay. Don't tell us that.
Portillo was on my list. Like that was like Chile, Portillo, or like here, Catedral.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I don't know if...
But I'm glad I came here for sure.
Yeah.
It's such a sick time.
Tom, did you guys get any powder like the last couple weeks, or was that like much earlier in the season? Because I feel like if it was like getting dumped on up there, I would have made the drive. But yeah, maybe it's been amazing. Steve, are the Argentina resorts easy to get to from North America? Can you just fly in and chill on the mountain, or are these places real remote? No, it's pretty accessible. Like you fly to basically Buenos Aires, and then from Buenos Aires we both flew from there to where we are now, Bariloche. And yeah, I mean the first, getting down here, it's pretty long. Like I went from like Toronto, Canada, and it was about let me think, like about 22 hours or something with like stopovers. How long did it take you to get down here?
I think so. I came from Colorado, and it was about 27 hours.
Okay.
That's from like leaving my house to like getting to the Airbnb.
Right.
So that's like dealing with the rental car and driving and all that.
Yeah. Actually, when adding that stuff into it, it was probably a bit more for me as well. Yeah.
But I think what made it really nice was we're like in similar time zone from what we left. So that makes, there's no like jet lag, or you're still on the same schedule. You can talk to everybody back home around the same time. And
yeah, that's huge. Yeah, if you're coming from North America, it's pretty much the same time zone, which is amazing. But yeah, and then the resorts here at least. So, I mean, I've been to 3 resorts, and Catedral, the city of Bariloche, is just like 20 minutes away, so very convenient. Where we went to Hoya, there's a small town, or like a big town. Esquel is maybe the same thing, like 20 minutes away. So it's not like ultra remote ski resorts. Yeah, nothing too remote or crazy.
There's also I've seen a lot of hitchhikers. Like I feel like if you didn't have a rental car, you could probably hitch up to the mountain.
Yeah.
Because like in Bariloche, it seems like there's one main road to get up to the resort. So if you're on that hitching, I think you'd find people that were going up. A lot of people going to the resort.
For sure.
If you spoke Spanish, which neither of us do.
Yeah. And then I think there's like buses and stuff too, like shuttles probably going up. So in terms of like the access to like just get to the mountains, and it's not a difficult trip really.
No,
yeah.
And driving's been chill enough. There's like a lack of road signs, but it's easy enough to figure out where you have to go. Especially, I found my driving is easiest to go to the mountains rather than like into town or things like that.
Yeah, and the mountain drives aren't like real sketchy either. Like driving into some resorts, like say driving up to like in New Zealand, you're on like huge like switchback roads for like 30 minutes, but here it's pretty mellow. So pretty accessible. I mean, it's amazing. But I think if you're like a avid snowboarder, you're gonna have an amazing time. It's maybe not like a destination for like a family trip. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of
maybe if it was like a great snow year, midwinter here.
Yeah,
it might be different.
Yeah, if everyone's real into it and you're kind of familiar with it, and I just wanted to have a cool experience. Yeah, it's super fun. We got El Stacker in the chat. What's up, Elliot? Thanks for hopping on. Saying cannonball the like button. Steve says your Bariloche content has me researching a trip next season. Awesome. Any chance you will do a group trip? Ooh, interesting, Steve. I haven't thought of that, but yeah, that could be something to do. That'd be super fun.
I think that's definitely snow dependent. I think like the last 2-3 years here, like may not have been the times you wanted to come.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Which is why like when I was looking at this trip, it was real like, oh, it's gonna be last minute if the snow's good.
Yeah.
Or if the snow's decent, yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome that you're kind of looking into it now. Virginia says, love your content, y'all. Started on the board February 2023, 60 days on my board to date. Hope you're having a good trip. Awesome, thanks. Yeah, that's a lot of days.
I was gonna say that's a lot of days for a year into it, pretty much.
Awesome. Sick. Yeah, Shane, what do you think? What have you taken away from this trip? Any lessons? Any new thoughts?
Biggest lesson was definitely like what we were just talking about. Like we walked away learning some good stuff from that slight incident.
Yep.
But also just coming to a new place for the first time and having more intel for when you want to go back again. Like that's been huge. Like when I look at coming down here again and I'm weighing the options of going to a new place or coming here, like knowing more about what I'll be able to ride and do, like that'll be like huge to plan the trip in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with snowboard trips, it's always like the first one is always a little bit harder. There's always some bumps along the way, but it does work out. Usually works out really well.
I gotta say, this is probably like the most blind trip I've gone to.
Yeah.
But it's also been like the smoothest, like no like flight issues, no like baggage or rental car or like, we had a few weather days where we couldn't snowboard, but they came at really good times where we needed to rest anyway.
Yeah.
So it's been like incredibly smooth, like
awesome. I just wanted to ask you about your channel as well. Like, what are your plans for the channel this season? What can people look out for?
Yeah, so with Search of Snowboarding, my channel pretty much goes September to April. So we're like just getting back into making content. So I'm like coming in like really excited, especially like having this trip to like kick off the season. Awesome. But we'll be doing some gear review stuff in the fall. I post a video every Thursday. So tomorrow I've got one on the Megadeth review on that, kind of looking at that board. It's one of my favorite boards, and I rode it all last year. So
awesome.
I had some good time on it to be able to make a video like that. And then and then I love making like adventure and vlog kind of videos. I haven't put any up yet from this trip, but those will be dropping starting next week.
Awesome.
And I got some other backcountry videos from our spring in Colorado that'll come out this fall. So a lot of stuff I'm really excited to put together and release.
Awesome, man. If you guys haven't yet, check out Shane's channel, Search of Snowboarding. It's been cool. This trip has been awesome because I've been watching your videos for I feel like since the beginning, maybe 5 years now. Yeah. And his content, super positive, very informative, amazing snowboarder. You can feel the passion come through. So go check out his channel. And man, hopefully the first of many trips.
Yeah, I hope so. It's been really cool linking up and doing our thing together, but in our own way. And it'll be cool when both our videos are out about similar things to maybe see the difference in how we each kind of saw those days or put those days together. I'm excited to see how that comes out.
For sure. Yeah, it's always funny because I see you doing your thing And I'm like, what is he doing over there? Like, that's not, I wouldn't, yeah, like, cause yeah, I mean, we're just different. We have different kind of visions, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna, yeah, guys, watch both versions. Yeah, Shane's got a whole bunch of videos coming out from Argentina. I've got a couple more to come, and it's gonna be super fun.
And also, one more plug.
Yeah.
We've got the Shred Letter.
Oh yeah.
So I have a little snowboarding newsletter that we release every week, every Wednesday. So a new one came out today, and if you want to check it out, today's we did a little interview with Kevin about his time with his YouTube channel, and yeah, you can check it out at theshredletter.substack.com. Gets dropped to your email every week, and
awesome.
Keeps
Yeah,
post that on snowboarding.
I'll add that link below after this. Yeah, what else was I gonna say? I was gonna say one more thing. Yeah, more trips to come with Shane, hopefully, and yeah, I'll have to make it out to Aspen.
Yeah, please do. I'm excited for the more trips for the future, and just shredding back home, and showing you my favorite stuff back in Aspen. Like, dude, your mind's gonna be blown. You're gonna be like, what have I been doing now coming here for so long?
Oh damn. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Colorado is like, I mean, there's so much going on there. There's a lot going on. So I think I've missed out on Aspen. So I'm gonna have to do that this season. Sweet guys, yeah. We got Tom Bullock saying, "Hi guys, nice Kevin. You unblocked the two side of the Andes. Oh yeah, Chile and Argentina. How is your Spanish after all the time you spent down here?" Oh man, not too good. No bueno. Yeah, I feel like sometimes on these snowboard trips, you just kind of get in the zone of like snowboarding, and then like yeah, we don't find ourselves interacting too much with like the locals. Maybe if we were doing something else down here, like attending like a school or
like had more of that local homie guide that's like, oh yeah, just say this, or this is how you say this, or
living with some Spanish speaking people.
That would be a big help, but not two guys that don't speak any Spanish. That's no help.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fun, like just picking up the small things, and I mean, culturally wise down here, like been checking out some like different food, and like had some like amazing like meals and stuff, and it's kind of cool to see some cultural differences. Any like highlight outside of snowboarding?
Highlights. Oh yeah, actually today. So we had a 4-hour drive from. We just got back to Bariloche tonight, but we were 4 hours south in Esquel, and I decided to take this 1.5 hour extra loop through a national park in the middle of Patagonia, and that was so cool driving through all that. I went, drove along a few really big lakes for a while at in really nice weather, and the lakes were crystal clear and had that mirror image of the mountains. So that was like probably my biggest non-snowboarding highlight.
Wow.
But
awesome.
Something funny with like back to the Spanish thing.
Yeah.
When I was like coming up into the national park, there was like a little guard station to like entrance, whatever.
Yeah.
And like anytime, I don't know if you felt the same way. Anytime you like pull up to something like that, you're like, oh man, like I don't know, I'm not gonna be able to talk to this person at all, and it's important, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like this soldier there, and he's like asking me things, and I'm
really,
like, yeah. And I didn't know if like there was an entrance fee or anything. I know how to say cuenta cuarenta. I think that's like how much is it or something like that.
Oh.
Cuenta cuesta.
Yeah.
That's what it is, I think. Yeah. But there was an entrance fee, and he started asking me these things, and then he started saying like, Italiano, España, and I was like, what is this guy asking me? And then I remembered from my very little bit of Duolingo, I shot one sentence at him. I was like, yo soy Americano. He was asking where I was from.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I know how to answer this actually. And he's like, muy bien. And then he just like waved me on. And I was like, all right.
Yeah. Dude, that's hilarious.
So that's like how most of my interactions have been.
I mean, you don't look too Italian, to be honest.
Yeah, I was like, but that threw me off. I was like, what is he asking me?
Yeah. And then Day Job Shutter says, I didn't know South America was an option until I started seeing you make content down there. Now it's on the bucket list. Oh, amazing. Yeah. Argentina, Chile, two like amazing spots. Yeah, hopefully the start of like a bunch of trips down here. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for all the Argentina videos. And yeah, again, if you haven't yet, subscribe to Shane's video. I'll also put a link to his Substack below, weekly newsletter. And Shane, man, thank you.
Dude, thank you.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, it's been unreal.
Too good. Awesome, guys. Thanks for hopping on, and we'll catch you on here next time.
Adios.
Cool.